Good morning from the desert. My name is Tom, and I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is tracking DoorDash numbers in the desert. Well, I promised you that I was going to start to show you the DoorDash tracking that I've created for hourly earnings. This is the hourly earnings track. And the very first thing that we do is we come on over here and we set an hourly goal. This ranges anywhere from I think $12 to $35. You come on over here next and you select the year that you're going to be currently working with, and then finally you set up the day of the week. And so let's go ahead and set those fields right here. We're going to currently show you that this is currently set for $20 per hour. You see I've color coded this as to going all the way from yellow, meaning kind of like a hazard, red actually, from something that's not desirable all the way to a purple $30 per hour. So we're gonna set this up for $20, and we're gonna come on over here and make sure that we're in 2026, and then the data that we did that I'm going to be showing you is from last Sunday. And so down at the bottom here, we have this area, and this area right here is where we do all of our gas purchases. I just log each day the price of the gas, the gallons that were used, the purchase price, and the odometer reading. So let's go on up here and add some data so that we have something to work with. And so we're just going to come on over here, paste that information, and then talk about it. So it's doing its calculations. There we go. There's all the information. And so if we come on over here and we take a look, this data right here is the actual hourly. That's what we made each hour at 5 minutes past the hour. It was my belief that DoorDash has skewed the clock by 5 minutes just to deter people from doing this. It just makes the calculations a little bit more difficult, but once you get used to monitoring everything 5 minutes past the hour, it's fairly easy. So this column right here just takes the $20 per hour that was selected up there and subtracts this number from it, and it reveals what the plus or minus of that calculation is. Are we ahead or are we behind? So for instance, the first hour at $5.30, because we got a late start. We actually started at 6:30, so there wasn't a full 20 hours that we could go. Um, that then shows that we're actually short already $14.70. This data right here is historical data, and let me show you where that historical data actually is. If we come on over here, this column, this column right here, this is actually the weekly total. That's every day combined, giving an overall average. And so you can see just from that alone that from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock is the best time to work inside of my zone as far as a breakfast. From 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock is the best as far as a lunch rush. Then we have 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock is the best for the dinner time. And then we have the end of shift when everybody starts to say, I'm done. I don't want to be out here anymore. And I'm able to scoop up a lot of good orders. So that's where the historical data comes from. That's the weekly total to show you the breakdown of the entire week. This area now becomes all the historical data. So when we select over here a Sunday, it's actually pulling in these numbers right here, and it's populating them right here in the fields that we're able to look at. Now remember, I'm using this on a mobile phone, so that's why all this information on the side is always hidden. And when we take the information from the historical data and match it up against what we actually earned. It shows us if we're plus or minus for those individual hours. Now, if I actually change, shut this off. If I actually change this from Sunday to say Monday, all these numbers are going to change. And when they do change, like they just did, you'll see that all the color coding also changes. This is just conditional fields, plus or minus. So whatever date that we select, it's going to change that information and show you the results. Now, it also changed the field that was to the right. And that field right there is taking this total right here. It's taking each one of these days right here, and matching it up with what we actually earned, and then showing are we actually ahead or behind to try and match the overall number for that day of that week. So this is all pretty interesting. You can just see that your hourly average is very important as far as making decisions. Now, I will tell you that there also is any time that I make less than $10 per hour, or anytime I make over $40 per hour, I exclude those two, just because if all of a sudden I got a $100 catering order, say from Chipotle's or something along those lines, I don't want that to ruin that hour of that day during that year, and from that point on. I don't want it to skew my my potential. So I just kind of use that as a threshold, guardrails, if you will, some tolerance. So $10 to $40, the earnings have to be between 10 and 40 in order to be able to be part of the overall average for the day. This field right here to the right, anytime that we have a canceled order or a tip or something, we'll go ahead and add this just so that we can log it. And this information that's over here to the right, I added a whole other 14 rows, excuse me, 14 other columns in order to be able to put this out for a maximum potential of 2 weeks at so that I have a place as I'm running my tail off, as I don't have time to necessarily play with these numbers. I can at least log the data, store that data, and then just delete it as I enter it into the hourly tracking sheet. So you can just see that I've got two different columns over here. Again, this is the initial earnings, and then this is any additional pay. So there was half pay of $4.67 here, and a half pay, or actually that was a $10 tip there. So let's go ahead and close this out as far as this day, and just show you how easy it is. I've logged all these numbers in over the course of the day. Every hour I just do that calculation. If I miss logging it, I go back to my screenshots and I look at the earnings. And if that doesn't reveal the missing cell that I have, I can always go back to my earnings in the DoorDash earnings tab of the application, and I can look at the breakdown of that hour and see what I actually earned. For instance, if there's a $6 plus and I can't remember that it was $8.25, I can always go back and clean up this data to make sure that it's all accurate and relevant. So once we have those cells selected, we just do a copy on that. We go over here to the far right. We do a paste special, values only. Then that saves that information there. And then that gives us the ability to just come on over here, highlight the column, come on up to edit and delete values, and then all that data is going to disappear, all those calculations. But now we preserve that information, and we just come on over here, we double click on the cell that brings up the calendar, and we select tomorrow morning, And now we are ready to rock and roll for another day of earnings. And I've already set up the gas, so that's all good. Make sure I'm in the 2026 up here. We're going to change this over to Tuesday and keep that at $20 per hour. Now, one last thing I will share with you why it is that I took today off versus any other day. And since we're currently in this year, let me highlight this for you. You'll notice that out of these totals down here at the bottom, Monday and Saturday are my two lowest earning days out of the week so far in 2026. So I could have either waited until next Saturday, which usually people are home and spending more money. So I thought that there was a higher potential of earning money then. Plus, I didn't want to wait, 5 or 6 more days to do an oil change. And I made the decision to take Monday off because that was my lowest paying week so far in 2026. And that information is invaluable right there because why would you want to say take off Tuesday out of a whim because you made on average 423 days? So there's a really good potential that tomorrow might be a banger. I guess what we will find out is because I took today off, even though I'm going to start early and end late tomorrow, um, will I be punished because I took some time off? We'll see what the end result is, and there's other factors such as saturation of drivers, market volume, order volume. You know how many people are actually ordering. There's no Monday night football, which doesn't make any difference because tomorrow is Tuesday. Sorry about that, but you can see how you can make decisions when to go out, when the best times are, what day should I take off. The numbers don't lie. And when you track this information, it paints a visual picture as to what's actually going on in your market. I hope you like this information. If you do, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and please leave any comments, ask questions, and give me your feedback, and let me know if some other features should possibly be in the sheet. With that, I'm going to say have a good day, and we will post our numbers on Tuesday night. Hopefully, it's a banger night. Be safe out there, especially everybody on the East Coast.